So next mode of nutrition is parasitic mode of nutrition. Parasites, the common word, right? Parasitic refers to the intake of food from the host, right? If I give you the common example, that parasites again are categorized into two types like ectoparasite and endoparasite. You see, the body loves the juice in our hairs, they just suck the blood. So you can say parasites, they suck the blood from the host. So examples here are entamoeba, and the full name is entamoeba histolytica, that causes dysentery, amoebic dysentery. Fasciula hepatica, fasciula is a fluke, liver fluke, and ascaris is a roundworm. So these are examples that shows the parasitic mode of nutrition. So till now you have learned that autotrophs, heterotrophs, and again heterotrophs are classified as one parasite. Now you can say there is further term called mixotrophs, those living beings which use light energy upon its availability for photosynthesis, as autotrophs can also use chemical energy like heterotrophs. When there is a dark, like example of mixotrophs are euglena. These are called mixotrophs and the nutrition is mixotropic. Now we'll see further the process of life process is digestion. Digestion, as you know, after getting the nutrients inside our body, the process of digestion starts in mouth. The saliva that contains the enzyme ptyalin or salivary amylase. So digestion, what exactly is digestion? The complex food obtained through nutrition in animals is converted into simple uh, food through hydrolysis by the action of enzymes. It means in digestion, complex food substances are converted to simple food substances with the help of enzymes, so that for absorption is better. The simple food is used as a source of energy. Rich compounds are carried to each and every cell. Definitely, the food uh, which contains energy are transported to each and every cell. The simple food is then passed into the process of respiration for gaining energy. As I told you, that respiration is the biological oxidation of food substance. Now further in life processes we can see circulation. It is a transportation of simple food like glucose formed in photosynthetic living beings as a result of photosynthesis from the site of its formation to the site of its requirement or storage. Suppose I said that glucose is transported. How? You see, blood in our circulatory system comprises of blood, heart, vascular system you will be reading for in further studies. So blood carries oxygen and nutrients, and the favorite nutrient is glucose. So it comes under the transportation. It is also the transportation of simple food like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol formed in animals as a result of digestion from the site of formation to the site of requirement or storage. Now see respiration, as I told you, explained you, all living beings require energy, and much of the food obtained through nutrition is used as a source of this energy. During respiration, the energy is released by the breakdown of energy rich compounds. The energy release is stored in the molecules ATP. As ATP, you must have read earlier, adenosine triphosphate. ATP has been found to occur in all living beings. Hence, it is something referred to as universal energy carrier, or you know that it is the energy currency of the cell, that is ATP. Now excretion, as I explained you, it is the removal of waste product, metabolic waste product. It It is the removal of waste product of metabolism produced during respiration in all living beings during the breakdown of simple food like glucose or lipids inside the cell. Like carbon dioxide, as I told you, it comes out from every tissue and cells after the gaseous exchange. It is also excretion is also the removal of waste products of metabolism produced during respiration in animals during the breakdown of simple food like proteins inside the cell. That is nitrogenous waste. Mainly the nitrogenous waste are, you can say, ammonia, urea, uric acid. These are the nitrogenous waste. Now the term homeostasis, you can learn this term. It is a maintenance of balance of internal environment of all living beings to that of external environment. It is well developed in animals than plants. Homeostasis is a way of maintaining the internal environment in living beings. Growth is irreversible process. Increase in mass of an individual, growth is irreversible. It means that if I am fully grown up, adult, you cannot make me 5 or 10 years kid or of your age. So it is always irreversible. Organism matures and attain growth. So once it attains the growth, it cannot be reverted. A multicellular organism increases its mass by cell division. In plants, growth continues throughout the life as they have meristematic tissue where cells division occur regularly. It means that plants have meristematic tissue where cell division occurs continuously. So this is the difference between the animal and plant growth. Now we can see further that living beings, however, grow from within using food that they obtain from nutrition. The molecules are formed into new living materials. So living organisms show internal growth due to addition of materials and formation of cells inside the body. Such a method is called intussusception. Intus means within, suspension is to receive. So this is a new term maybe for you, intussusception. Living organisms show internal growth due to addition of materials. It means that we grow internally. We doesn't grow externally only. It doesn't mean that we grow in height, we grow in size, but we grow. You know that when a child is born, all the major organs are very small. If you talk of liver, the heart, the lungs, all are very, very small in size. And gradually when the child grows, then all the size of all the major organs, they also grow in size. It means that in organisms, the growth is from inside also, not only external only. So here living organisms show internal growth due to addition of materials and formation of cells inside the body, and such method is called intussusception. In animals, growth occurs to a certain age, after which cells divide only to replace the worn out and lost cells. Unicellular organisms also grow by cell division. However, cell division is also a means of reproduction in them. In higher animals and plants, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive. Now we can see the another characteristics of living beings: maturity. Living beings when grow shown maturity. Living beings when they are grown up, they show maturity. Maturity confirms adultness in living beings to reproduce. Reproduction, as I told you, is characteristic feature of living beings, living organism. The lifespan of all living beings is limited, but all of them have the ability to perpetuate life. thereby ensuring the survival of this species. It means that the survival of a species depends on the process of reproduction. Now, irritability is another important, you can say, feature of living organisms, that it is also called sensitivity and is the characteristic feature of protoplasm.